So good morning to all. So in the previous lecture, we have discussed about the spirometers, different types of spirometers for measuring of the mechanics of breathing. We have discussed in the last class. So the various spirometer types of spirometers for measurements of okay. So in that this is the electronic spirometer. So coming to today's session, so we'll see a spirogram. So using the spirogram, we can analyze different volumes and capacities of the heart. So here, so this is a spirogram. So on the y-axis we have a millimeter scale. So here we can read this diagram from the right side to left side. So here this is showing that so when the drum, which is a chemograph drum, will be rotates at different speeds. So when the drum is rotated at 32 millimeters per minute, it means it is rotating at a very slow. So at that time we will say the patient that we have to take the breath and we can breathing process, inspiration and expiration. So by this recorder, it will record this type of variation. So and with that we can get the vital capacity. So vital capacity we can get. Okay. Next next we will see that we will make the rotation of the drum with very fast. So by making the rotation very higher speed, so that is around 920 millimeters per minute. So at that moment we will say that we will record the output of this parameter. So that will be produced like this type of the waveform. So next after the medium speed, so with the medium speed, so we will record the maximal voluntary ventilation. So we will get like this type of the representation. So it will shows the maximum voluntary ventilation. So in this case, so we will say that the patient should be breathe very fastly. Instruct the patient to breathe very fastly in and out as rapidly as possible. Okay. So similarly, we have other types of measurements. So that is the next one is measurement of residual volume. So by using the spirometers, we can measure the almost all the um, lung volumes. So, but except some of the parameters we cannot measure with the spirometer by using a spirometer. So for that, so we go for the other techniques. So the parameters which are does not possible to measure with the spirometers are generally the residual volume and functional residual capacity and total lung capacity. Residual volume, FRC, functional residual capacity, total lung capacity. So these three parameters are not possible to measure with the spirometers. So to measure these three parameters, we can go for the other techniques. So those are so here we have a FRC, functional residual capacity. So this functional residual capacity is measured by using so closed circuit technique and open circuit or nitrogen washout method and body plethysmography. So that we will see in the next slide. So measurement of the functional residual capacity of the heart, of the lungs will be measured by using three methods: nitrogen technique, helium dilution method, and body plethysmography. So by using three methods, we measure the functional residual capacity. So in the first case, nitrogen washout technique. So here we have this is the O2 cylinder, oxygen cylinder. Uh, so in the to find so in the air what we inhale, in the air we have the nitrogen and oxygen. So whenever we have inhale, so that air consists of both the oxygen and nitrogen. So but the nitrogen capacity is very high and oxygen percentage is less compared to nitrogen. So the inhaled air present oxygen nitrogen, oxygen will be replaced by the or replaced by the CO2. Okay, and but nitrogen will be present inside of the heart. Okay, so with that, so we have to find the using the nitrogen. So we will find the functional residual capacity of the heart. So here the initial amount of nitrogen in lungs is equals to total amount of nitrogen exhaled. So total amount of nitrogen exhaled. So here we have to make that the to find the actually FRC, that is functional residual capacity of the lungs. So how much function it will be able to perform. So that will be determined by using the nitrogen washout technique. So in this case, so the nitrogen is also mixes with the already it is mixed with the oxygen. Okay, so here we have a principle, that is to collect all the nitrogen that can be washed out of patient's lungs. So we have to collect the nitrogen which is placed in the lungs. So in addition to oxygen, nitrogen is also present. Okay, so following a maximal expiration or normal expiration, the patient inspires oxygen from a special source and then expels into a spirometer, which is the free of nitrogen. So here we can say that patient should expel the oxygen from the oxygen cylinder, not from the air. So then what happens? The oxygen also will be inhaled by the patient. I mean, by so in this process we have to make that close the nose. So we have to make that the nose should be closed by a clip. Okay, and we will allow the patient to take the breath in and breathe out by using the mouth. Okay, so in such situation we will allow the patient to take the oxygen, pure oxygen. Okay, so then when we consider, we will observe the oxygen, pure oxygen, so that oxygen will be mixes in the heart with the nitrogen present in the heart. Okay, the what are the oxygen we are observed, so that oxygen will be mixes with the nitrogen already present in the heart, and we will make the patient to expire using the spirometer. So with that, the nitrogen also mixes with the oxygen and comes outside. After some minutes, almost all the cellular nitrogen is washed out of the lungs. So like that, we can say that expect the number of times. Due to that, what happens, the entire nitrogen which will present in the lungs will be comes outside, so washed out of the lungs. So there we can observe the what amount of nitrogen is expelled. So in healthy adults, this may be achieved by 2 minutes. The patients with severe emphysema, it takes 20 minutes. So concentration of nitrogen in spirometry is measured. Okay. The difference in nitrogen volume at the initial concentration and at the final exhaled concentration allows a calculation of intrathoracic volume, usually FRC. So here, so first of all, before expiring the nitrogen, so we will measure what is the nitrogen gas, the initial volume of the gas. After finally expiring, so what is the nitrogen volume of the gas? So the difference of these two will give the calculation of the FRC, so intrathoracic volume. So the patient should be allowed to take the pure oxygen and not the air. So in such situation, the air does not inhale through the nose. So only through mouth only he should be takes the oxygen, and that oxygen will be mixes nitrogen which is present in the lungs. And in the expiration process, we will make the expiration of the gas. So in that gas, both the oxygen and nitrogen will be present. And before expiration and after expiration, we will measure the nitrogen volume. So that will be gives the intrathoracic volume. So the thorax is there. So how much will present in the how much it will present in the alveolus. So all it will present in the lungs. So that will be measured by using this nitrogen washout method. And second one is helium dilution method. So a spirometer of known volume is filled with air mixed with helium at a known concentration. So in this method, so we have to use the helium. So this helium does not mix with the oxygen. Okay, so helium spirometer of known volume is filled with air mixed with the helium and at a known concentration. So we should know the concentration of the helium. In this case, we will find the concentration of the helium. And before breathing from the spirometer, the person expires normally. So first you should say the patient expire normally. Okay, at the end of this expiration, the remaining volume in the lungs is equal to the functional residual capacity. So at this point, the subject immediately begins to breathe from the spirometer, and the gases of the spirometer mix with the gases of the lungs. See here. So helium dilution method, the patient breathes in and out of this spirometer filled with 10% of helium and 90% of O2. So we will mix, we will consider a gas. That gas consists of both helium with 10% and O2 with 90%. Okay. So we have to, we will instruct the patient to breathe this gas and inspire and expire process. By that, we can record the variations in the spirometer. Okay, and as no helium is lost, so as because helium is insoluble in blood, so it does not soluble in the blood. Okay, helium, so it will comes as we send and it comes outside. Okay, so that will be obtained as C1 into V1. So C1 is the concentration of helium at the beginning of the test, and V1 is the volume of the helium at the beginning of the test. Here we are considering the concentration of the helium and the volume of the helium at the beginning of the test, and that is equals to C2 into V1 plus V2. So C2 is the concentration of the helium at the end of the test. Okay, and V1 is the volume of the helium at the beginning of the test, and V2 is the V1 plus FRC, volume of helium at the end of the test. Okay, volume of the helium at the end of the test. By the end of the test, so we will get the total volume of the helium. Okay, so that helium will be is a combination of the how much helium gas we are inserted, and it will be present inside the how much it will be occupied in the lungs. So that will be final volume of V2. So those will be analyzed by using the helium analyzer. So how much of volume we are pumping and concentration of helium we are sending to the lungs. After that, so final testing. So we will measure how much of concentration it is there and how much volume it is occupied. So that will be measured. So here, if you know the final volume, so from that we can find out the FRC, functional residual capacity of the FRC of the lungs. Okay, so C1 and V1 we know that, C2 also we know concentration. Okay, concentration of helium, and V1 is the initial volume of the helium, and V2 is the total volume of the helium after testing. So it is a combination of the total volume V1 plus the entire volume of the lungs. Okay, that will be obtained by this equation. See here. So this is a nitrogen washout or a helium dilation. So the same methodology, but using different materials. So nitrogen and helium, two gases are here we are using. So here, so before equilibrium, so up to this we have a concentration of C1 and V1, the volume of this one. This is the gas which is present in the spirometer. So once this gas is here, this is the V2. Okay, and so once we allow the gas to flow to the lungs, okay, so the gas will be allowed. So it is helium will be allowed to breathe. I mean to pass to the lungs. So then, so with this we can find out the volume of the lungs. So that volume of the lungs is a combination of the actual lungs lung capacity and the applied volume. Okay. With this, we will get the C1 into V1 is equals to C2 into V1 plus V2. So once the FRC has been determined, the residual volume can be determined. Residual volume. So the total lung capacity can be determined by adding the inspiratory capacity to the FRC. So by adding the inspiratory capacity to the FRC, we will get the total lung capacity. So in the starting, so we are told that the FRC and residual volume and total lung capacity, these three parameters are not possible with the generalized parameters. So to measure these three parameters, we have to use some special arrangements. So that we've seen here. So by using helium and nitrogen mixing with these gases will be mixing with the actual inspiration process, and by that we can find out the FRC. Once we determine the FRC, so from that we can find out the RV, residual volume, and we can find out the total lung capacity. Total lung capacity, FRC plus IC, inspiratory capacity. Okay. And another one is the body plethysmography. So it is also another methodology to measure the residual volume. So in this plethysmography is nothing but is the Greek word and meaning of the enlargement. So that is when we inhale or exhale, there is a rib cage will be makes and enlarge, expands. Okay. So based on the principle of Boyle's law, it will work. So a patient is placed in a sitting position in a closed body box with a known volume. So in this case, we will say that the patient should be placed in a closed box. So in that closed box, we don't allow any other gases to flow in and out. So that box, see, I will show you. See here. So this is the testing box. So inside the patient should be placed. I mean, should be seated here. He will sit here. Okay, and after that, so we will close this door, and we does not allow any gases to inside to move. Okay, there is no gases to be. I mean, there is no airflow should not go inside and outside. Okay, so it should be such like type of the tight box. Okay, the patient sits inside a fully closed rigid box and breathes through mouthpiece connected through a shutter to the internal volume of the box. And the subject makes respiratory efforts against the closed shutter, so causing their chest volume to expand and decompressing the air in their lungs. Okay, so we will allow the patient to sit here, and we will close this door. Okay, and we will ask him to, by using mouthpiece, we will ask him to inhale and exhale process. While inhaling, so what happens? The chest will be enlarges. Chest will be increase its volume. When exhale process, the chest will be decreases. I mean, compresses, and due to that, there is a variations in the body enlargement and decreases, compresses and enlarges. And when we are placed in a closed cabin, so in that cabin having certain air is also there. Okay, so but from the outside air does not allow, so the already air is present inside. Okay, we are asked him to inhale and exhale. In such situation, the body movements will be changes, and due to that variations, there is a pressure changes in the this box, rigid box. So while breathing in and out again into a mouthpiece, the volume of all gas within the thorax can be measured by changes in the pressure inside the box and the allowed determination of the lung volume. So by taking inhale and exhale process, so there is a change in the thorax of the body, and due to that there is a variations in the gases or air present in the rigid box. That variations will be recorded by using the pressure transducer. So this is the body plethysmograph method. So here we will measure, this one is box pressure. This will gives the pressure inside the box, and this one is the mouth pressure. So how much of pressure we are inhaling and exhaling process, inhaling and exhaling, the pressure will be measured by using the mouth pressure measurement. So changes in mouth pressure reflects change in alveolar pressure. Okay, and here electrically controlled shutter closed at end expiration. So we will say the expiration process, inhale and exhale process. By the at the end of the exhale process, this shutter will be closes, electronically closes. Okay, and due to variations in the expansion of the thorax, so there is a variations on the pressure inside the box. That changes in the pressure will be changes in the box of the pressure will be measured by using this box pressure. Okay, change in box pressure reflects change in lung volume. Change in box pressure which reflects the change in lung volume. Okay, so with that we can find out the FRC. This is a functional residual capacity, that is nothing but atmospheric pressure into delta PB by delta PM, whereas PB is the box pressure and PM is the mouth pressure. So with this equation we can measure the FRC, atmospheric pressure into box pressure by mouth pressure. Okay, so with this we can measure the residual volume by using three methods. One is by using helium dilution method, and nitrogen by using nitrogen method, and another one is the body plethysmograph. So with these three methods we can measure the residual volume, that is FRC. Can measure the FRC, and the next one is airway resistance measurement. Airway resistance measurement. So in the airway resistance measurement, so airway resistance, what is the airway resistance? Is the pressure difference between the alveoli and the mouth per unit of airflow. It is the difference between the alveoli. So alveoli is the end part of the lungs and the mouth. So at the starting of the mouth, the difference between these two will be difference pressure can be considered as the airway resistance. Airway resistance is the pressure difference between the same here this. Okay. The mouth pressure is easily measured with a manometer. So alveolar pressure can be reduced or detected from the measurements made in a body plethysmograph. So by using body plethysmograph also we can measure the alveolar pressure, and by using the manometer we can measure the mouth pressure. So by using these two we can find the airway resistance. So here to measure this airway resistance, there is a meter, that is a pneumotachometer. Pneumotachometer, and it is also called as pneumotachograph. Pneumotachograph. Okay. Airflow can be measured directly with a pneumotachometer and a transducer. So here in this case, so to find out the airflow resistance, to find out the airway resistance, we can measure the airflow. So how much of airflow is going inside and coming outside. So if there is any obstructions is placed inside, so that will makes development of the pressure difference. Suppose we are breathing in, suppose something is obstructing the air inside, the air passes will be obstructed by some element or some material. Unwantedly it will be gone inside, so it will be obstructs the air passes. So then there is a difference will be occurs. So that air way resistance, so it is nothing but opposition to the flow of the air through lungs. Okay, so that will be measured by the pneumotachometer. So pneumotachograph converts the flow of gases through it into a proportional signal of pressure difference on either side of the central mesh, whose design ensures a signal linearity over a range of flow rates with a minimum dead space. So here we have a pressure. Here we have a transducer. So here we can measure the difference of the pressures. So differential pressure we will measure. So that instrument is nothing but pneumotachometer. So which converts the flow of gases that is proportional to signal of pressure difference in the signal of difference pressure. So I will show you the diagram. You can easily understand the setup of the pneumotachometer. So here this is the pneumotachometer. This is the flow head, and this is the disposable filter and disposable mouthpiece, and this is nose clip. So you can see that all these measurements are done by closing the mouth. We can sorry nose. So we can close by the nose by using some clip, and by using the mouth we can test. See here, by using the mouth, all these measurements are done by using the taking the breath in and out by through the mouth only, not the nose. So we will close the nose by using some clip in all the types of measurements. So this is the nose clip. Okay, and this is the mouthpiece. So which is to be, we can use it as a disposable. So because the patient to patient, it will be disposable. So we can, once you use, we can throw it. Similarly, we have a disposable filter also. So this filter also filters if any unwanted particles will be coming inside, that will be obstructs or filters the um, gases. Okay, and that gases will be sent to the pneumotachometer. So here there is an orifice is there. See here. So this is the disposable filter, and this is the disposable mouthpiece. And here we have a wire mesh inside, and here we have a plastic tubes. So plastic tubes are connected. So inside we have a wire mesh, or like an orifice. Orifice is nothing but a small opening. A metal plate will be there. Round shape of the metal plate will be there. On the center of the metal plate we have an opening, small opening. Okay, so did that, what happens when we when we are allowed the air to blow, so then what happens? The air will be try to pass through that small hole. So then what happens? There is some pressure difference will be occurs. Pressure difference will be occurs. So that pressure difference will be measured by using this plastic tube. And these two different pressures, P1 and P2 pressures, will be measured by using electronic circuitry. So for this, I will show you, I will tell you one example. సో మీరు ఎప్పుడైతే కాలువల దగ్గర మనకి తూములు ఉంటాయి, తూములు. సో అక్కడ మనం ఏం చేస్తామంటే వాటర్ యువతల నుంచి అవతలకి వెళ్ళిపోతుంటుంది. సో ఇట్స్ లైక్ అన్ ఆరిఫైస్. సో కాలువల దగ్గర వాటర్ ఇలా వెళ్తూ ఉంటుంది. సో అక్కడ ఒక బ్రిడ్జ్ ఉంటే మధ్యలో ఒక తూము వేసి ఆ తూము ద్వారా మనం వాటర్ని ఎలో చేస్తాం. సో అలా ఎలో చేస్తున్నప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది? సో ఇటు నుంచి ఫోర్స్ అనేది సపోజ్ ది ఎంటైర్ వాటర్ from the input side will be moves through this what is a opening, okay, and tomb antam, we can call it as in Telugu tomb, okay. ఆ tomb ద్వారా మూవ్ అయ్యి బయటకు వచ్చేసరికి ఏమవుతుందంటే స్పీడ్ పెరిగిపోతుంది. సో the pressure at the inside or the starting of this particular passage is very high. Whenever it comes to the other side of this passage is very low, and velocity will be increases. At the starting side the velocity is low, and other side the velocity is very high. So the starting side it is pressure is high and velocity is low. At the other side the pressure will be less or low and velocity will be increases. So like this there is some pressure differences will be occurs. If you allow to this water in a small openings, a small opening, so then there is a small difference will be develops, okay, and that change in pressure will be produces the how much pressure, the difference of these two pressure will produce the how much pressure it will be coming, okay, flowing. So that will be measured by using differential pressure transducers. So that differential pressure transducer will use the electrical signal that is proportional to the difference of these two pressures, okay. So like that we can measure the air which is expelled by using the mouth. So that will be allowed to pass through this filter, and there is a small opening inside. So how much pressure it will be coming and going outside, so that difference will be measured by using a differential pressure transducer. See here. So here flow resistance elements, here we have a fine mesh screen. So there is a small openings are there. So in place of small opening, so we are having a plate is there. That plate, round shape plate will be there, and inside we have a small openings. When the flow is coming inside, okay, so this air or liquid, so here air will be moving through this small openings. Then there is a difference of the pressure will be develops. Different pressure will be develops. So at this we will have some different we will have some pressure, and here it is having another type of pressure will be decreases, and this difference pressure will be measured by two